Hey guys, I just want to give y'all a little content warning really quick. In this episode, we will be talking about depression, anxiety. There will be a mention of suicide very briefly. So if you are not in a space to hear that right now, please skip this episode. Take care of yourself first.
Glowing Up Latina, Season 1, Episode 11.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Glowing Up Latina.
Hi.
I'm Christina.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Liana.
So today, you guys, we are going to be talking about mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to be getting into kind of our journey with mental health. We're going to touch on mental health and the stigmas within the Latinx community. And that's what we'll be doing today.
Yes.
But how have you guys been? How's y'all's week been?
This week was kind of hard, not gonna lie. I got my period earlier in the week and it took me out completely. My back was out, couldn't bend down for 2 days straight. My allergies are here, they're present, they have not gone away. So I'm just kind of I was telling Tech Con that I just needed a vacation. Coming up the stairs, I was just I need a fucking vacation.
Got you. Yeah, I feel you. I took yesterday off. It was good. Another reset, Let's see, what else? Other than that, week has been good. Oh my God. We tried Pilates this week.
Oh, yes, we did. We went to SLT. It's like Pilates, but on
steroids.
Yeah, literally.
It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I've done mat Pilates, but that is a different game. I can't. It's hard. It's very hard. It's tense. But
it's
it was
on this
fun. I felt good afterwards.
Device called a megaformer, and the whole thing is you're in suspension on this device, going. So I actually didn't realize until you said something afterwards that Pilates, the movements are all supposed to be very slow.
Yeah.
I'm going because I'm ready to be done with this, but they're all time things. So the everything was under 45 seconds.
It was under 45
or something that. And you do the move for 45 seconds.
But you have to keep in mind Pilates is not like cardio. It's not. I'm very much a cardio person. I need to run, jump, and do all those things. I like to do the kicks, punches. That's me. That's what But when it comes to Pilates, it's very slow motion where you're literally moving every tiny muscle in your body.
Yeah, it's very controlled motions.
And I'm count faster because I want to be done with this. And yeah.
Let me tell you, my legs, they felt it. I was going up the stairs afterwards, and I was for a flight walk up, this is not fantastic. This is really awful, actually. So, but now I know for the next class, I'll do everything very slow.
Just go slowly.
But my week was pretty okay. I was in the office a lot this week, and honestly, I had a very good time. I got my dual monitor set up, so I'm an actual adult now. It's great. Fantastic.
I miss my 2 screens.
I want a dual monitor.
I miss it. You just can't go. Once you have it, you can't go back.
So that's good. Good weeks. Decent weeks, I guess. Whatever. I don't know. This kind of goes into our episode. My Tuesday was really, really bad. My Tuesday was freaking awful. I had a personal thing, and then I had a work thing, and then I'm on the phone talking to my mom about it, and I was fine all day. Mm-hmm. And then my mom called me, and she was I just wanted to tell you, don't worry about this and forget about that. God knows what he's doing. And then just tell me goodnight. And we got off the phone, and I lost it. I was she loves me so much. I was this is too much right now. And Thomas was are you okay? And I was no, and I'll never be okay again. It's okay.
I'll let you do you.
Yeah. But then I think, and this, it kind of gets into what we're going to be talking about, but through the very great work that I do with my therapist, I have found a way to find a place for my emotions. Before, I used to just not acknowledge them, and then they'd build up and build up and build up, and it just wouldn't be good in the end. Now I'm in a place I took the time Tuesday finally to acknowledge what was wrong, and talk it out with myself and talk it out with Thomas. And then Wednesday I woke up and I was we're letting all that go. Today is a whole new opportunity to have a great day, a better day. And it honestly, the rest of my week was fantastic. Like, it was great. I had a great week. And honestly, like, yeah, Tuesday sucked, but what is it that you've survived 100% of your worst days? And like, Tuesday was not the worst day. But I can think of 5 other days that were worse than Tuesday. So it all worked itself out. I love it. But that leads me into our segue of, you know, in the Latinx community, mental health is, I would still say it's kind of a taboo topic. I think our generation is doing a really good job of like bringing it to the forefront and making it like known, like, no, I will not be quiet about this, which is really great because, you know, some of the most common like mental health disorders that people in the Latinx community faced are like generalized anxiety disorder, major depression, PTSD, addiction, and then suicide is actually pretty high. Suicide rates are actually pretty high in Latinx youth. And, you know, more than half of Hispanic young adults ages 18 to 25 with serious illnesses may not receive treatment. Of people with mental illnesses, about only 34% of the Latinx community actually receives treatment, which is way lower than the average amount of people in the US who receive treatment for their mental health conditions, mental illnesses. That sits at around about 45%. And, you know, when you don't get help for your mental health issues, your concerns, or, you know, those things, they lead to a worsening of your mental health. So then, because you're not getting treatment, it becomes more severe and more persistent, and people never receive the tools they need to get the help they need or to help themselves. We talked about it in our last episode, in the physical health episode. There are a lot of barriers to why Latinx and Hispanic individuals do not receive mental health treatment. Some of the big ones we touched on in the last in episode 9. Yeah, episode 9. Were language barriers, of course, poverty and less healthcare coverage as compared to other ethnicities and races. Legal status, though, actually plays a really big role and a barrier to like mental health services, because when people have a fear of being deported, of course, like, you don't want to reach out for help. There's also lack of cultural competence, and this doesn't necessarily fall on the individual. That has more to do with the medical community and doctors not necessarily understanding like Hispanic and Latinx customs and culture. And the big one that we'll be focusing on for this episode is like the stigma that comes from members of our community, because as we know, Latinx culture is very private. Everything that's happening in your house stays in your house.
Stays within the 4 walls you live in.
You know, our family handles our business, and that's it. That is what it is. So I know for me personally, when I was starting like this mental health journey, I was really like torn about whether I should seek help or not, because I was like, I was like, I don't want to like put my family's business out there like that.
Air out everyone's dirty laundry.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm like on Twitter telling everybody what's happened in my life. Like, I'm having a one-on-one conversation with like a mental health professional.
Yes.
So yes, some people will not seek treatment because they have a fear of being labeled as like quote unquote crazy, or they'll bring shame or unwanted attention to their families. And also, I don't know about for you guys, but like religion also plays like a very big part of it. And
yeah, it's like, what if you need someone to talk to God? It's like, I need him to reply back to me though, and he's not doing that. I need to talk to a person.
I need more than a one-sided conversation. I'm very sorry. So yeah, you know, you hear the like, you pray it away, or I think like a big one also that's not really faith related, but it's just like, you have a roof over your head, you have clothes, you have food.
Yeah,
like, why are you sad? Like,
that you have, and be
like, what are you upset about? Exactly. And I think that was like a big thing for me when I was like, I don't want people to think I'm ungrateful because I'm saying that something is wrong with me. Because I did therapy like in secret for a little bit. And then and I have to say this, that my family never said anything or never said something that would make me think they're not okay with it, or that they would be like, why are you doing that? It was me. It was all me. And a lot of it was that I have all of these really great things and I feel nothing on the inside. Like, for somebody in my life, I should feel happier. I should feel more proud of myself.
Yeah.
I should feel more excited. And I was like, this is weird. Like, it shouldn't be like this. And that honestly, that's what led to the ungrateful feelings. Because I was like, what is wrong with you? You have like you're going to law school, you graduated college, like you're living in a major city and you're doing it like on your own with like your job, and you have really great friends. And I was like, why aren't you happier in life? So that is the kind of what started me off. But do you guys remember talking about or hearing about taking care of your mental health when you were younger? Like, was that a conversation that was ever had with you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
Never.
Absolutely.
No, it was never a thing to talk about. I don't like, it's taboo. You know, it was more like you got to keep it pushing, keep it moving and carrying on, right? And it was also like, I feel like the way like my family has always been, it's like they're both sides of my like my dad and my mom's side. Like, I feel like they're hardworking people. So it's like they were always about having a job, taking care of their kids. Like, their minds were always running about how to, you know, again, take care of their families, that it wasn't like I have time to sulk in my feelings and think about all of my worries like that. I am thinking about they are thinking about their worries in the sense of like, okay, I have to like make sure I provide for my family, but it's just like, also that takes a toll on you, and it can burn us out. And I don't think they let themselves take that in and talk about like how those anxieties affect them. And then if you don't talk about it, then it's just like, again, it's always that vicious cycle of like, I don't want to say spazzing out, but then it's like you lash out, but like you lash out because you're just angry and fed up because you're not working on yourself and your anxieties, your stressors. So then we learn, like children learn, that it's like, okay, I can't think about my issues or my anxiety because I have things to do. I have, you know, it's challenging. It's, again, keeps going. But if we talk about it, we can change it. We can make a difference, right? But when I was younger, no, because there was always something to do.
Yeah. I think for me, I was very oblivious to like mental health. Like, I didn't know it was a thing when I was younger. Because like, again, you're always doing something. You always have to be like, I would tell my mom sometimes like, oh, I'm bored. And she's like, what do you have to be bored about? There's so much stuff to do. And I'm like, okay, we're at it. But yeah, I don't remember ever hearing about therapy or taking care of your mental health. And if I did, it was always in a negative connotation or a negative like way, or like very hush hush. Like, it was just something that you'd never talk about. You don't talk about it.
Or then it became like a rumor, even like if you were seeking help, it's like, oh, did you hear about X, Y, and Z? And they're going to go see a doctor, or they're going to see somebody, they see a therapist, and it's just like,
and it's so, and those things should be like praised,
right?
They should be like, wow, I'm so proud that you're seeking help. Not like, oh, you heard she's
it's a scandalous, it's scandalous.
Oh
No,
like,
that's not
okay.
good. You're not helping. You're not helping the problem. You're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
How about you?
No, I don't think it was ever a discussion. I honestly don't think it became a discussion until I got older. I think maybe in law school was when I mentioned it for the first time to my mom, that I was like therapy was like a thing. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe in college. I doubt it. But I think I went for a little bit, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to tell her. And I was really nervous to tell her. And it was honestly very fine. But I think I took 2 years off in between undergrad and law school. And when I did that, part of it was that I felt like I had no direction, and I felt like I was letting everybody down because I wasn't doing anything. I was just a nanny at this point in my life, and I was like, I did not go to school for 4 years, move up to New York City, like, so I could be a nanny. I was like, I need to, and I knew I wanted to go to law school. I had done so bad on the LSAT the first time that I took it. And I was like, well, maybe like law school is not for me. I was like, because it was those freaking logic games. Like they just tripped me up. The last time I took it, I actually took it in Wichita because I was like, maybe it's because I'm taking it in New York. Maybe that's what's like tripping me up. Maybe I need to be home. So I took it at home, and I came home from the test and I was sobbing to my mom. I was like, I did so bad. Like it's not gonna happen. Like I just need to figure out what else I'm gonna do because obviously this is not meant for me. And so the 2 years that I took off, I'm grateful for them. It was a great time for self-exploration, like I said, but I honestly think that like it was the beginning of my journey with depression because I felt so off all the time. And I didn't, because these conversations like weren't had, they still weren't really had then in that time. Like I feel like talking about mental health and being so open about it is like a very much more like recent thing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what was happening. I just thought, I was like, you're just being a baby. Like, get over it. You're being dramatic. But, and also, if you're thinking of going to law school, the LSAT has no freaking, like, it's not a predictor of how well you'll do in law school. I know people who got, like, 170s and did not make it to the first year. Like, it doesn't matter.
What do you need again? What do you need, a 190?
It doesn't, and just, like, whatever the law school takes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I think the highest you can get is, like, maybe a 180. I think so. But it literally, I know people who got like 140s, 150s, like, and did phenomenal in law school. It literally has no bearing on how well
like
you'll do.
Bad test takers.
I don't like the SATs.
Oh, I hate the SATs.
The SATs. All right, and did I take the ACT? I don't think I took the ACT.
I took the ACT and did much better on it than the SAT. Did so much better on it. But we'll see, like, the stuff with the LSAT, like, it did end up coming back up for me when I was getting ready to take the bar exam because I was like, I took the LSAT 3 times and I'm about to take this huge ass test. And what if I like fail again? But I had been in therapy this time around and I was able to like get those feelings out, process them, acknowledge like, yes, this is a feeling you're allowed to have. But if you let it control you, then this is how you will do. And so I was able to like work through that anxiety, and I did. I passed it, and it was great. It was fantastic. So, yeah, all that to say that I think it took more of me like bringing it up for myself for it to be a thing that's talked about in my family.
Yeah.
Because honestly, now I don't shut up about everybody. Everybody should go to therapy. Have the stigmas associated with mental health ever kept you guys from like seeking help for your mental health?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I did a little bit of research, and because I was curious to see like what the mental health thing in DR. I don't know what the word is. The mental health
Stats.
Stats. Stats. Yeah.
In DR are. And it's not surprising. Like, they were saying how, like, Dominican Republic is, like, they rank high in, like, certain areas, like tourism, hospitality, and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to, like, mental health, it's not really seen as a priority. And it carries a certain stigma and alienation because of their lack of knowledge and lack of mental health professionals. So I was like, that's not surprising at all in any way. But a good thing that came out of that is that I read an article that stated that more than like 11,000 Dominicans received mental health treatment because of the pandemic. And it surrounded like social isolation and economic pressures that came with COVID. And I thought that was amazing because I was like, okay, 11,000 is super small, but it's progress. And I think that's important because I think these 11,000 people will now be like advocates for like, no, you should probably go to therapy. And like that then will grow and grow. But to answer your question, I never actively went out to seek therapy because I just, like I said, like it was always hush hush. I always saw it as a negative thing. Like it was like, am I crazy? Or like for wanting to talk to somebody that has no bias or anything.
So yeah, because family I saw that, it was like you had to keep your problems and your issues and, within your four walls of your home, right? You weren't allowed to really like talk about it. I guess like I learned that's a learned behavior not to discuss like your problems with someone else. And again, it's all about trusting certain people with your business. So that was like a big thing again with my mom, like trust, like who to like vent to. So yeah, so maybe like all that stuff was like it was like bottled up. And like the first time like I realized that maybe like I was like battling with anxiety was like in middle school, and I was like getting all these like weird stomach aches. And the nurse, oh no, we had to go see the doctor. We went to go see my pediatrician. My pediatrician was like, "No, you look fine. You look okay. But is there something wrong? It's like, are you okay in school?" And like at the time, maybe yeah, but like I just didn't want to talk about it. And
did you even know how to talk about it?
Yeah, like I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to like yeah, I could have told my mom, but like I just didn't want to. Again, I can tell you, she's very easy to talk to, but like I just didn't want to. I wasn't ready to talk about it. Like I wasn't ready to discuss a few things. So like that was the beginnings of like me and like dealing with my anxiety. Like and now I understand what it is now. So yeah, all this time I guess like I was like challenging. I was battling and challenging. It was challenging from the very beginning. Didn't even realize it until just now. Like just now that I'm thinking about it, it's crazy.
It's interesting that you said you had stomach issues, because I was reading today that, and again, this comes back to like the lack of cultural competency in the medical profession, where a lot of doctors will misdiagnose Latinx people, or specifically like Latinx women, because they'll go into doctors' offices and explain like physical ailments that they're having. And so the doctor will look for something like internally that is wrong. Like, so you had stomach issues. So of course, like if you're consciously, if you're constantly like anxious, like of course your stomach is not going to be like great, and your digestive system isn't going to be great. I think it's very important for people to understand that like your mental health not being right, not being great, like mentally, if you're not okay, it will affect the rest of your body. There are like physical ways that mental illnesses manifest in people. Yeah, I think it's hard to know. Also, though, it's hard, especially when you're young, and then even now, to like find the words for things, because like how do you explain to somebody that like you're constantly nervous all the time when nothing is like really going on, or like you're so anxious all the time, but like there's not necessarily like something going on for you to be like anxious about. Like there's not like a test coming up, or there's not like, you're just living your day-to-day life, but yet you're still like
like your stomach is in knots and your nerves are going crazy and you're like, what is going on? Like everything is fine. Why am I like this? And there are also like triggers that happen, and we don't realize that they're a trigger that's setting us off. That was another thing, like sweaty palms. Like from the very beginning, like I was a kid with sweaty palms, and my dad used to be like, "Why are your palms so sweaty?" I'm like, "I don't know, but if you keep talking about it, it's just gonna be like
more sweaty." I'm trying to think of what I used to feel when I was younger, because I definitely feel like I had some things of anxiety, because at that point in middle school, I moved to a new state. I moved to a new school. Like I didn't have any friends or anything like that. Like I definitely had, but I don't remember if I felt anything. I think more of mine was like, it stayed up here.
Right here.
It stayed up here. It didn't like transfer anywhere. I mean, I guess it did, because I rarely ate, or like I didn't really sleep or anything. So like but it stayed here.
When getting help for your mental health, some of it can be that we don't necessarily have the knowledge, I guess, because honestly, I didn't know there was a difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. I knew there was a difference between those two things, and a therapist, because like a therapist like can give you a mental health diagnosis and help you come up with a treatment plan. So you could sometimes they use like play therapy or like cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just different therapy methods that they can use, but they like will not prescribe you medications.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my medications.
Modify my lifestyle.
I don't know where that came from.
Now you got me saying medications.
They will not prescribe you medication, but they'll refer you for an evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
A psychologist can diagnose and treat mental disorders and learning disabilities and behavioral problems, but they're not medical doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A psychiatrist can also diagnose medical disorders and chemical imbalances. They are medical doctors and they do prescribe medication. And you'll maybe I think sometimes you'll get maybe a counseling session or two out of them, but they'll end up referring you to a psychologist or a therapist for like consistent, like long-term therapy. Mm-hmm. And I think that I read somewhere that therapists will be like a long-term thing. Like you'll go to therapy long-term, whereas like maybe you'll see a psychologist because a specific like event happened and you need to talk to somebody. And then because I think you can see them long-term as well, but they'll also like refer you to someone for long-term as well, maybe. Is how I understand it.
So is it like psychiatrist is also psychologist and therapist, but therapists and psychologists are not psychiatrists?
Kind of. A psychiatrist will usually only see you a few times before they refer you. Like you probably won't see them long-term because they're medical doctors. Like they have
other
it's like the whole thing like
got it.
Like trying to get in for an appointment.
Episode 9,
And then psychologist and therapist are almost the same thing, not necessarily quite the same, but you would see them to like talk things out. And your therapist is the one who's like going to kind of come up with your treatment plan though on long term how to.
So the psychologist is basically like, this is your problem. And then the therapist is like, this is your problem. Here's how we can fix it.
There you go. I would say that.
It's my understanding of it, yes.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned, like, I've been going to therapy for a while now. I think I started my 1L year. Yeah, I started my 1L year. So then maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I did talk to my mom before I went to therapy because what I was nervous about telling her was that my therapist had diagnosed me with depression. And I remember when that happened, I was just like, I don't think you know what you're talking about. I feel like maybe I should stop coming to you. And she was like, but why? Like, why do you feel that way? And that was the thing that took me a minute. That's what it was. That is what took me a very long time to talk to my mom about. Not a very long time. Because when I got diagnosed and I didn't tell my mom right away, like it felt like I was keeping a secret. And like that started to like actually weigh on me. And my therapist was like, you just need to talk to her. And because like she could see that like I was nervous and like whenever we would talk about it. And I honestly like didn't have a reason on why I didn't want to tell her. Again, I told you, like, I'm always scared of, like, disappointing people, but, like, logically, I knew this was not going to disappoint. Like, there was no reason for this to disappoint my mom. But it was just, like, Christina always has something going on. And because I feel like I do. My mom probably doesn't feel that way, but I feel like I always have something happening. But eventually, I got that diagnosis around 2L year. Yeah. In 2L year. It was pre-pandemic because I remember like being on the phone with my mom on the weekend when I was studying at school and telling her about it. But when she gave me the diagnosis, I was like, I don't know about this. And so we talked about it in a couple of more sessions. And then she was like, why? Like, why are you so hesitant? Like, it doesn't change anything. If anything, it's going to help you because you're going to be able to figure out like how to deal with this. And I was like, I'm scared that like I'm making it up. I am scared that I have just like thought this whole thing up in my head and I'm being dramatic about everything. That nothing's actually wrong with me. That I am just like, it's like a kid when they're like asking for attention. And she was like, okay, a lot to unpack there. She was like, isn't that the issue? She was like, isn't the issue that it's in your head? I was like,
She was like, you're making sense. I was like, oh, you got me. Oh, you got me there.
I was like, well, you're not making sense. And I think learning that like my brain doesn't do the things that it's supposed to do was really helpful for me in coming to terms with my diagnosis, because when I got the diagnosis, it was fine. What got too real for me and why I wanted to talk to my mom about it was because they prescribed me Wellbutrin, which is an antidepressant. An antidepressant. And I was like, okay, we were just talking about it in words. That's fine. It's whatever. I was like,
but now it's like more
real.
real.
Yeah. Now you're giving me like a bottle of pills, and that scares me. And because like, again, I had to go to a psychiatrist. Like, I talked to my therapist and she was like, here, you need to talk to this doctor, and then they'll figure out like if medication is the right way to go. And so I talked to the psychiatrist and she was like, okay, yeah, I think, we're going to try Wellbutrin for you and we'll see how that goes. We'll talk in a month and, see how it's going. Because you get like, she gave me like a month's supply to try out. And I think normally like it can take you anywhere from like a month to 3 months for everything to like regulate the way that it's supposed to. But when I talked to my therapist about it, and I realized that this is, considering we're doing this episode, like, it's not going to be the best thing to say, but, like, I was scared to take the antidepressants because I was like, I'm fine. Like, everything's fine. And I don't want people to be like, Christina's not fine.
By taking the medication. No, I understand. I understand what you're saying, right? Because you're trying something new. And you I think you're right to feel afraid or uncertain about what the medication is going to do to you, because it's
a scary thing.
Yeah,
it's a whole new world, because like you've never talked about it as you were a kid. You didn't really know how to approach it, how to like handle it and everything, and now have these pills that you're just like, these are supposed to make me feel okay. Yeah, and it's like, it's scary. I would be fucking terrified.
Yeah. Because you don't know like what the side effects are, how much it's gonna help you. So I think it's not abnormal for you to feel that way.
Well, and that was my thing, was that like she was like, okay, so these may not be like the right combination for you. We may have to try something else in a month or two. Like, it's just gonna take a lot of like testing,
right?
Trial and error.
And I was like, okay. So then when I talked to my therapist about it, I was like, I don't feel very comfortable like taking medication. I feel like there has to be a way for me to like resolve, not necessarily because like I'm going to have depression all of my life. In my happiest moments, I will still have a depressed brain. Like that's not going to change. But there is a way for me to manage my, like, the way that it manifests for me, and there's a way for me to notice my triggers, because that was a big thing that I had to learn, was that there were things that set me off that would lead me into like my downward spiral.
Definitely.
And I was like, and also just testing different medications, like I don't think I want to do that. Like it doesn't feel good for me, and then for maybe it to not work.
Yeah.
Like it would scare. I was like, because I was like, birth control can mess me up if I'm on the wrong birth control. I was like, so I don't need like a whole nother thing to like mess me up. But when I was talking to my therapist about it, she was like, okay, she was like, here's what we can do, because I kept bringing it up in sessions how like I wasn't ready to take this medication. Yeah. She was like, we can try like a holistic approach to this. She was like, the thing is though, she was like, you have to really work for it. If you are not working for it, it will not work. And then you'll just be in this cycle where you're not getting better and nothing's happening for you. And again, this was pre-pandemic. Yeah. So I got on a very good schedule of like the gym. I was eating really well. Yeah. I was getting all my schoolwork done. You had a routine. I did. And I got in a very, very good place. Yes. And then the entire world shut down. Damn, I couldn't go to the gym. And like, there was just like everything around us was depressing. Like the world was literally like in this catastrophic event. And it was very easy for me to, what is that thing? You know, when you're like, doom scrolling, when you're constantly just reading all of the bad stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
It was very easy for me to do that.
I find myself doing that sometimes.
Yes. So I did eventually like find a holistic way that worked for me. I still get my prescription renewed just in case like, I don't know, I stop working at it, because it's always a very real possibility that I stop working for it no matter how bad I want it. I'm glad to be in a place where I can do it this way. But if I ever truly feel like I'm in a place where I can no longer handle it, then I will stop doing it, because I have to do what is best for me, and I have to do whatever is best and going to keep me healthy.
Yeah.
And in a good place mentally. Yes. Because being in a bad place mentally, it ruins so much. It ruins I don't want to say ruins. Maybe, but it puts like what are the opposite of rose-colored glasses?
Tainted.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good word. Yeah.
I say a damper on things, but okay.
Yeah, those are both good words though. Like, it permeates everything. Like, you're happy is everything. So, yeah. But that is kind of like what my journey with mental health has looked like.
Going back to like the psychiatrists and psychologists that you were mentioning, like when my parents split up, my mom did a lot of research on who she felt like I needed to see someone after they split up, and she felt like I needed to talk to somebody about their separation, because she was like, you want to talk about it? And I was just like, I really don't want to talk about it. And it could have been like the teenager in me to like be like whatever and brush it off, but she felt like it was important for me to like to talk to somebody, a third person. And she did a lot of research. She found out the difference between a psychiatrist, a psychologist. And I remember us seeing a psychiatrist, and she was just like, I think your daughter would benefit from just seeing like a family therapist as opposed to like a clinician, because she's just so young and I don't think she needs to be on any medication.
With the family therapist, is that something y'all would do together, or is that just you?
That was just me, and that was just like my time with, I think she was like a social worker. I want to say she was
like somebody who specializes in family dynamic. Okay.
That's So I was seeing the therapist for a bit. I think I want to say like about 3 months also.
Okay.
And then like we stopped. I stopped because I went for about like 3 months, and that was mostly because like it wasn't really like 100% covered by my mom's insurance. I remember.
Yeah.
And my mom, like it was kind of hard for my mom to like pay out of pocket also. Mm-hmm. She wanted me to get like help, and but it was tough. I appreciate my mom, I'm telling you, that woman did everything for me. Still does. But I went, and that was like my it was hard at the beginning. It was very hard to like be open and like talk to somebody who like I just didn't know, who was a stranger. What helped is that, it was a female, mm-hmm. and she was very nice. I still remember her name. Oh. And she had dogs in the house. She had cats. Like I think that's what helped. Like all of her pets were like therapy animal. What was the word?
Emotional
support animals, and she had a few Dobermans. Like you would think like Dobermans are like they're kind of known to like be like. They have a stigma, right?
Is that like the dogs off of Oliver and Company?
Oh, maybe. I think so. We'll look it up. Yeah, they're like, but she had them so well trained, and they were so nice, and they would come up to me and put their heads on my laps. Like, so it made things easier to talk to. It made it easier for me to talk to this person.
Those are the dogs off of Oliver and Company.
Huh?
They're the dogs off of Oliver and Company.
So
they're the bad ones, right?
They're the bad ones. That's what I'm saying. They're not like the Dobermans have like the stigma where they're like they're bad.
But they had a mean owner. That's what's wrong. If you have a mean owner, your dog will be mean.
Right, exactly. But these Dobermans were so sweet, and I would go like maybe once or twice a week. after school, and I'd say it helped a bit. I wish I would have continued to do it, but again, we just financially was just really
It's expensive.
It's very expensive.
It's another barrier to mental health care.
Yeah, and looking back at it now, I wish like what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, I think I didn't appreciate it as much now that I'm like an adult and I have things going on in my life. I'm like, damn it, man, now I need the therapy more than I did when I was 15 years ago. But the point is like, I got to experience that. So like now if I do want to go back and like, find a therapist. So I know I'm not going to be as shy and timid in talking about the things that I need to work on. Again, I was a teenager. Like,
yeah. I will say, like, once you break the barrier the first time, like, it's so much easier. It is, though. It's weird to, again, like, bare your soul or, like, be... Because I think, like, I love talking to an impartial person because they don't have a hat in the game.
Yeah.
Like, somebody's always, like, has a hat in the game, whether they're looking out for me or whether they're looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
And you're talking to this person who literally could, like, okay, I don't want to say could care less, but, like, couldn't care less, but... Like, they care about you because you're their patient and they know that, like, you're dealing with something, but that's the extent of it. Like, they have no stake in the outcome of your life, I guess, want to say.
Yeah. But, I'm thankful for the time I had with that therapist, you know, but, I need it now more. I don't know. And also, like, I'm thankful for my mom too for like thinking like that far ahead in the game and wanting me to like seek help or like looking out for me if she felt like she wasn't. I think she also wanted not that she didn't want to be a part of me like finding help, but like again, maybe Amanda needs to talk to somebody else. Maybe Amanda doesn't want to discuss certain things with me and her father, because then it's like if I talk to my mom about like their relationship a lot, it was like I was taking one side. You know, I think like my dad wasn't like really open to it because he was like, you don't need it, you're young, you're fine. But then again, those are things that
they just think that you're young and you're resilient.
Yes, like you don't have any worries, you're fine.
Would you consider going back to therapy, or is it something that you are actively looking into, or what?
Sorry, I was about to cut you to the chase. I was like, yes, 100%. Yes, I do. I do want to go back because I get new life experiences, new changes. So it's like just trying to find ways how to manage those, the new things that come into my life. I'm very much like, I don't like to change my ways type of person. But again, I was raised that way. I learned that type of behavior. So it's like, I need tips on how to take in new responsibilities and how to manage my stress and my anxiety level with new opportunities. Yeah, because sometimes I get like, I'm like too hard on myself. I don't know like how to add something new into my life and I'm like, crap.
Well, and then also you've had like a lot of really big adjustments. Like even though getting married is a very like happy thing, it's still a very big adjustment.
Yes.
That's why I think that like therapy's good. Even if you like maybe feel like your life has been fine, like it's still good to go and talk things out with people.
I agree. So yes, I encourage it for anyone who wants to do therapy. I did like it. I did like my time, and I want to go back.
Okay.
I think it'd be good for me. Yeah.
And what about you, Liana?
I am actually in the process of trying to find a therapist. I've wanted to start therapy for a while now, just because I've noticed that I spiral a lot more than I used to. And I have no idea if that's because of the birth control, but
I am gonna piggyback on that. That is, I think
I don't know if it's because of that, but I've noticed that I spiral so often, and that's not good. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to get myself out of it, but sometimes when I'm at the bottom of it, it's very hard to get back out. And so Yeah. But definitely want to try it. I'm scared. I've never had that. I definitely will. I'll try to talk to my parents about it and see how they feel. But I don't know. I have to do it because like I won't know if it helps if I don't try it. So
Yeah.
what if it really helps?
Yeah.
And then I'm great. But yeah.
Well, what does your journey with mental health look like?
I don't know. I think I've gotten to a place now where like I'm less oblivious to it than I was when I was younger. And I think I'm getting out of that mindset where it's like if you go to therapy then you're crazy, or like if you go to therapy then it's because something is wrong with you. But like even if something is wrong with you, at least you're putting in the work and at least you're trying to do something about it, and you're not just like sulking in the corner and just like would you rather me be like crazy or like I don't want to say crazy, but like I don't know what the word to say.
I mean, I think that's how I like. Maybe it's not healthy for me to say it, but like that's how I describe myself. Sometimes I'm like, I'm crazy, but there's no other way for me to like express.
I don't want to say that word because it's not. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all.
Yeah.
And I think people specifically like in the Latinx community need to come away from that because we're in a whole different world. We're in a whole different time frame now. Like this is not the time or the place to be like, I'm going to keep everything inside of me and just keep going. Like that's not the kind of world that we're in now. And like people need to understand that and grow from that. That's the only way that we're going to grow.
Right.
And so that's where I am in my mental health journey. So now that I'm more self-aware and I realize that now I know that I should go to therapy and like I want to try and see, like figure out like what's happening and
what's going on?
Something's weird. Something is off and I don't know what it is. So yeah.
How about you, Christina?
I'm in a good spot with my mental health journey right now. I am having to look for a new therapist though because my insurance switched because I have my job insurance. So that's been slightly difficult. But actually, Amanda found some really great resources that I think I will be utilizing to hopefully find my next therapist. They actually have Instagrams, and the first one is called Latinx Therapy. That is the handle on their Instagram, and it is a network designed to help you find a Latinx therapist.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I need.
The other one is Therapy for Latinx, and it has a similar purpose. And I know you have one more.
Yes.
So it's salud_mental health. And they give you tips on how to, manage your stressors and mental health. And they're another mental health service. Yeah. So, yeah. They're based out in North Carolina. But still, I would follow their page because they have some really helpful tips. And anybody listening from North Carolina, check them out.
And we'll link some other sources in our show notes. NAMI is always a good resource. It's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. There's the Trevor Project, which is specifically for LGBTQ youth. We'll link them all in our show notes in case anybody out there needs them. Do not let the stigmas associated with mental illness keep you from getting help.
And just to bounce off on that, mental health is a journey. It's not something that's going to be fixed tomorrow, today, next week. It's something that is a work in progress. And just because, you're going to seek help does not mean that you need to get fixed. You're not broken. None of us are broken. We just need help, and that's okay.
And we definitely wish you a successful journey, whatever that may be. And like we said, we hope that you take a look at the resources that we'll provide for you guys. So, yeah.
And if you want to share any with us, please DM us, tag us in them, and so we can share them with everybody. What is making you guys glow this week?
The Bad Bunny album came out.
Yay!
So I've been blasting that nonstop since it came out at 12 a.m. last night. And I also hung out with my cousins yesterday. That was really fun. We had tacos and margaritas.
Nice. Making me glow. I get to see my mom this weekend. I am going to visit her, and I'm looking forward to that. Yes.
Love that. Love when you guys are glowing. Liana, when can the people find us?
You guys can catch us here every Wednesday, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Leave us a glowing review. We love to hear from you guys.
And then you can always find us on Instagram. Continue to like our posts, comments, DMs, everything. We love it. We love the feedback. And then you can also send us feedback on our, did I say at Glowing Up Latina? I did not. You can, so where we would like to see the post, your likes and comments and DMs is at Glowing Up Latina. And then you can send us emails on any topics you would like for us to discuss on the podcast here at glowinguplatina@gmail.com.
And please be sure to leave us a lovely review on Apple Podcasts. That is how other people will find us. We really do love to get y'all's feedback, and please, you'll help other people find us and come listen to us, which we love.
Yes.
So until next week, keep glowing, mija.
Bye.